From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome to the Wow Report on SiriusXM Radio, Andy, where each week we count down the top 10 things of the week that made us go wow. Yes, I'm James St. James, once again in control for the third week in a row. We have lost our fearless leader, Fenton Bailey and Tom Campbell, but with me instead is our millennial producer, Blake Jacobs.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. We also have with us a very special guest today, a longtime friend of the Wow Report. He is the senior editor at The Hollywood Reporter, as well as the podcaster from It Happened in Hollywood. Welcome to the show, Seth Abramovitch. How are you doing?
Yay. Wow. Here
Wow.
The inmates are running the asylum. Where the bosses?
Yes, the monkeys are in control.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Well, as I mentioned, each week we count down the top 10 things of the week that made us go wow. But with the passing of the devastating loss of Diane Keaton this week, I thought we would dedicate our first two segments to our top Diane Keaton movies of all time, the most beloved movies, the ones that resonate with us the most. Blake, you can sit this one out because I don't think that you have it in you to talk about Reds or Nancy Meyer films.
Well, I haven't really seen those, but I do have to say I did love The First Wives Club, and I quote it often.
Well, and that's what we're starting with, because starting at number 10.
Number 10.
I asked Tom to send in his favorite movie, and he wrote back saying it was The First Wives Club, and I'm just going to read what he said. He writes, "While I loved her in Annie Hall, of course, Reds, and The Family Stone, which came out after my own dear mother passed away from cancer, I love, love, love First Wives Club, and especially her performance. If I told you I watched that final You Don't Own Me number 1,000 times, I would not be lying. Before YouTube, I attended a Woman in Film Crystal Awards luncheon that honored her and Bette and Goldie in 1997, and they gave away First Wives Club video cassettes or VHSs with it. And aside from a few pornos, that was the only VHS tape that I had. And I would hit play and sing You Don't Own Me and rewind and do it over and over again and again every single day. She represented hope for womankind and mankind. She was so vulnerable and lovable and classy and just beautiful." So, thank you for that, Tom. That's exactly how I feel about the movie. I think it's a perfect movie. Every performance in it where you have, Bette and Goldie and Diane, and then you have Sarah Jessica Parker as the gold digger.
Yes.
It was so good. You have Maggie Smith as the society matron, Ganella Goldberg, I think was her name. And then you have Ivana Trump popping up and delivering that great line about get everything. Seth, is this one of your favorites? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's a classic.
Why they didn't do a First Wives Club 2, or a sequel or something? Because it's just, they could have really just soaked it for everything that it was worth, but it does stand on its own.
It was screen magic, and that musical number that, we've all seen 1,000 times. There's something just magical about it. They're just so present and so iconic in their personas. Each one had such a strong persona.
Exactly. And like you can watch it and exactly. Yeah, you can just watch that clip and know exactly who they are throughout the entire movie.
Steven and I often quote, why don't we go find this in your size? From Sarah Jessica Parker.
Okay. Well, that was First Wives Club. Let's move on to number 9. Seth, who are you?
Number 9.
Okay, first I'm going to tell my Diane Keaton story. I've interviewed a lot of celebrities, but I've never interviewed her. I crossed a crosswalk in opposite directions with her. That was my Diane Keaton experience. It was in Beverly Hills, next to the Nosh Diner Deli. I don't know if you know where that corner is.
Sure.
And so I'm going one way, she's coming the other. I was like, oh my God, that's Diane Keaton. And then this car tried to turn and cut us off. And she stuck out her arm and she said, no, stop. And stopped the car. And then we all passed like safely. And that was the end. I was like, Diane Keaton just saved my life. That was
If it weren't for her, you wouldn't be here today.
Exactly. I had to share my Diane Keaton story.
Very quickly, I sat in front of her at a Lady Gaga concert in 2014. It wasn't like VIP section or anything. She was just with the regular crowd. She was dressed like Diane Keaton in Annie Hall. And I turned around and got a picture with her, and she could not have been sweeter and nicer. I absolutely will never forget that.
I know she had to have been in the nosebleeds because I know how much you got paid in 2014.
It was Fenton who took me, Fenton and Billy, and they don't mess around with seats.
With Gaga.
So I was fine.
Well, those are great stories. All right, this has been really fun because you got me to do a little mini marathon, and appreciate her all over again. Why don't we start with Marvin's Room? This is just a classic, old school, weepy. It's straightforward. It's Meryl Streep though, and their sisters. And then Leonardo DiCaprio, a young Leonardo from like mid '90s, is Meryl's son who burnt down the house, and Meryl's the sort of tough as nails one, and she's plays the kindly one who's caring for their dying father, who's been in a sort of dementia cloud for years. And everyone in the end comes together and shows up for each other. And if you aren't crying, then you are AI, because it is.
Well, you also might be laughing at their wigs though, because they both are sporting some really rotten shake and go wigs.
But that's part of the plot because she has cancer.
Well, there you go. Okay. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, she gets cancer. So anyway, they talk about the wigs, and it's just it's a sweet, and all, Diane's acting in it is so heartfelt and so genuine and so intimate, and you remember, just how touching she could be. And in addition to funny and brash and tough and whatever, she could also play these sweet, heartfelt moments, and I've really been enjoying revisiting that one.
Leonardo is still on the cusp of superstardom, and you forget what a magnificent actor he was in those early roles. All three of them just get those moments to shine in that, and it's they all three of them deserved Oscars. I think they all got nominated, didn't they? Or did Leo might not have gotten nominated? I'm
not sure. We'll let Blake find that out.
Yeah,
but he hadn't experienced twink death yet. It was still twink Leo.
I think this is after Basketball Diaries, and
but pre-Titanic.
Yeah.
He's just on the ascension, and he's great. You can see why he became what he did. He's very good in it.
It's the same year as Romeo and Juliet, which
was it? Oh, that's interesting. I think now we're on to number 8.
Number 8.
This is going to be a controversial one, but I stand by it. I want to talk a little bit about Manhattan. Woody Allen, 1979. It's hard to watch in 2025 for reasons that we'll talk about in a few minutes. But there's so much in this movie to sink into love when you think about that amazing black and white cityscape cinematography, that soaring Gershwin score, that scene of the Queensboro Bridge and the sun coming up as Rhapsody in Blue is playing. I mean, it's one of the great scenes one of the greatest scenes that's ever been filmed in all of Hollywood, I would say. It's just spectacular. The dialogue is so crisp. That first scene where we meet Diane at the art gallery and they're having that incredibly pretentious conversation about art is what I wanted to move to New York and have conversations like that. That was my first experience about what that kind of person was. But the elephant in the room, of course, is that Woody Allen is dating Mariel Hemingway, he's in his 30s. She's a 16-year-old high school girl. And you cannot tell a Gen Z person that it was just the 70s and things were weird. They can't get past that. So you can't have, it's sort of like Breakfast at Tiffany's. You can't have a Gen Z person watch it without the Mickey Rooney thing. You know, I mean, like, there are things that this generation just won't forgive, and that's one of them. So
I have the perfect solution for that.
Yes.
Don't watch it with a Gen Z person.
There you go. Woody at his prime when he was Annie Hall, Manhattan, and then he did Interiors and Stardust Memories, and all that whole period going right up to I guess Manhattan Murder Mystery. I mean, that whole 70s, 80s sleeper bananas is just brilliant. He really is, and there's no getting around it. So for that reason, I think that Manhattan will always be a part of me, and Diane was such a important part of that movie.
It's funny that, you know, we're doing a couple Woody movies and neither of us are doing Annie Hall, which would be the most obvious. But maybe because it's so obvious, we both were like, we're going to be clever about it. But I have another one.
But I actually think that Manhattan is a better movie than Annie Hall. I might be alone in that, but I actually think that her performance is better and that the writing is a little crisper.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to have to revisit it. No, but of course, yeah, Manhattan is amazing.
All right. Well, let's go to a commercial then. And when we come back, we will continue our countdown of our favorite Diane Keaton movies. Blake, do you have a trivia question for us?
I do have a trivia question. Who's the only person to win a Grammy, an Oscar, and the Nobel Prize?
Well, we'll have your answer when we come back after the messages.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM. I'm James St. James here with Blake Jacobs and Seth Abramovitch, and we are counting down our favorite Diane Keaton films. And then Blake had just asked us a trivia question. Blake, what was it?
Who is the only person to win a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Nobel Prize?
I think I know this. Seth, do you?
It's a trick question. You were going to make me say something, and I was going to say it, and then I realized it was someone else.
Oh.
So I was originally going to say Bob Dylan.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
But then I realized, no, Bob Dylan has not won an Oscar, but Barack Obama has won an Oscar. Wait, what were they? Grammy? Nobel?
Bob Dylan.
Oh, it was Bob Dylan?
Oh, yeah. God. You see, I overthink.
That's what I always say about you, Seth. You were just an overthinker. Well, he won the Grammy many times, and he won the Nobel, but he also won in 2001 for Wonder Boys. What was the name of the song, Seth? I know you remember.
The Wonder Boys Shuffle. No, I forget.
Things have changed.
Oh, things have changed.
One of my all-time favorite songs. And let's move along. We are at number 7. Seth, that's you.
Number 7.
So just to break away from all the Woody talk, I wanted to say one that was around the same time as Annie Hall, but really changed her perception in Hollywood and with the public. And that was the very controversial movie Looking for Mr. Goodbar, 1977.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah.
I did finish that one. It is a shocking movie.
I will tell you something, because I revisited it about a year ago, and I had seen it when I was 12, and I kept thinking, oh, this isn't as bad as I remember. It's fine. In the first half, it's fine. And then it is seedy and depressing and scary and sad and just shocking.
It goes off the rails, yeah. And so I guess I never knew the story behind it, but
it's a real story, isn't it? It's a true
story about this Catholic girl from New York who had issues. So she lived with her, Catholic parents, and But she had she had two sides to her life. During the day, she worked with deaf children, and she was this, perfect Catholic girl and a really nice person. Then at night, she would go wild and go to all the singles bars in New York in the
but not era. Just singles bars. She was going to seedy Times Square, like bars with whores and criminals and just the seediest of the seedy.
And then according to this movie, also gay bars, and I don't know. But anyway, she was definitely looking to have some fun. And she would pull men home, and one of them freaked out and killed her, kind of drifter guy. That's the true story. Then the woman who wrote the novel that it was based on, she wrote a story, like a nonfiction story that was going to be in a big magazine. I forget which one right now, maybe Esquire or The Atlantic. And they got nervous with it and they pulled it. She said, fine, I'm going to rewrite it as a novel. And she wrote this whole novel, and it was a fairly moralistic portrayal of this woman who was being foolish with her safety. And I think there was a lot of judgment over her behavior. Although watching it today, well, I think, it's certainly in the gay scene, people do questionable things and they don't get judged for it. And sometimes you do meet a crazy person and get killed. But this was considered a feminist statement of some kind about loose morals.
Well, but I also think that this is we are smack dab in the middle of the sexual revolution of the 70s. And there were lots of people out there testing boundaries and seeing how far they could go with their sexuality and everything like that. And it wasn't considered immoral in the way that in 2025 we would watch it now, or we would look at it now. So I don't know.
But it was considered a cautionary tale.
It was a cautionary tale, but it was also, I think she was sort of celebrated a little bit, at least with my mom's generation, for, my mom was someone who would go out to bars and meet men in the 70s. So
then the movie happened, and what happened is that Diane made her very likable, and the director it changed the sense of the novel, and so the novelist hated the movie, loved Diane in it, but hated the take on it, which is that she was a more kind of fun, relatable, cool chick who was having fun and then just went too far with it. And she said, you missed the point. This was supposed to scare people straight, or whatever her point was. So that's the history of it, which is sort of interesting. Now, the movie itself, quite shocking in terms of, what she does. And then it does build to, first of all, you have a young Richard Gere in it, who's very sexy, but a horrible person.
So sexy.
Racist, angry guy, but then she meets Tom Berenger, who also is quite sexy at this age. He's the drifter, and that whole final scene where she finally does meet her end is really shocking. But then everything she does is kind of gets crazier and crazier as she keeps pushing the danger of it. And then the other interesting thing is she has a younger sister in it, played by Tuesday Weld. She got the Oscar nomination. Diane did not. Tuesday is fantastic. Also, kind of little firecracker who likes to break the rules and things. She disappeared after that. She left, took herself out of Hollywood and became one of those sort of like mythologized actresses. And that kind of put in my head, I should track down Tuesday and see what
I was just going to say right now, that's a perfect one for your podcast, because is Tuesday still around? Is she?
Yeah, she just, she's alive. I believe she's in Colorado. I just know that she's, doesn't do press and that she doesn't want to be part of the scene anymore. But that, of course, increases her mystique. I haven't done one of those in a while, but I did do a series like with Shelley Duvall and Valerie Perrine and Tatum O'Neal, where I did sort of track down these actresses who kind of peaked in the 70s. So that fits into that genre of what I do. So we'll see if I can find Tuesday Weld.
That's interesting. But it's if you haven't ever seen it, Blake, I think just one Saturday night, just turn it on.
I'll definitely add that one to the list.
Yeah, because like I said, the first half you keep thinking, everyone talks about how shocking it is. It's not that bad. And then it just gets so seedy, and you just feel like you need a Silkwood shower, 3/4 of the way through, because she is just being trash is what she in these trashy places. Oh God.
Like
but she's still and you still love her.
Like you've not done worse.
Well, that's just it. It's what you recognize inside of yourself as you watch it. And there, but for the grace of God, go each and every one of us.
The other thing is, she was very wholesome and beloved from Annie Hall like the year prior. So for her to take this chance, it is a highly risky role for an actress who's peaking like that to take. She's very unlikable in it. So anyway, it's really great. Check it out. You'll be shocked, but it's great. It's also cool to see gay bars. Around that time, same time as Cruising, They weren't afraid to sort of depict that kind of stuff in a mainstream. This was a Paramount picture, so that's always fun too. That whole era.
And to be able to see for people of this generation to see what this Disneyfied Times Square, to see it back in its seedy glory is just it is fun to watch. It's fun to see. I miss that. I lived in Hell's Kitchen for a while in the 80s, and I miss it every day.
I bet you do.
There's a book called Red Light, Blue Light. If you ever heard about this, Seth.
No.
And it's a professor it was sort of the same situation where by day he was a professor at Yale or someplace, I can't remember. And at night he would take the train in and go to all the gay theaters, the old theaters in
Times Square.
Yeah, in the balconies where everything would happen. And he just writes about it in this sort of academic style that just it starts off very dry and crisp and just gets progressively, bluer.
I'm going to tell a personal story, even though Blake is telling us to move on. But
yeah.
So one of my first gay experiences, I didn't know much about being gay, but I did have Madonna's sex book, I think, or I'd seen it, and there's a whole shoot in this place called the Gaiety.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, yeah, we've talked about the Gaiety on our podcast a lot.
So I was in New York, I think, on a family trip, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go take a walk and just do my own thing. And I went and I found the Gaiety, and they were playing some porn on it, and I was like, wow, like this. So this is what being gay is all about. Okay, got it. And then I left, and then this guy I remember saying to me, hey, can I walk with you? And I ran away. And that was my bold
and you talk about pre-twink death. You were quite the little morsel, if I recall, at the time.
Yeah, I don't know if I was ever a twink, but yeah, I don't know. I can't believe I just told that story on
Gaiety, because were you there? Because in the evening they had the dancers come out, and the dancers would
I was hoping for dancers, but this was just a straight ahead
this was
porn movie, but more than I had seen until that point in my life. So it really was an eye-opening,
And those seats were a little sticky, if I recall.
A little, yeah. I switched out of there.
Okay, moving on to number 6.
Number 6.
I want to talk about The Family Stone, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. I love this movie so much. The Stones are a slightly eccentric old money WASP family in Connecticut, very free-spirited, dynamic. And when the golden boy Everett, played by Dermot Mulroney, who is just so dreamy. Oh, I love him so much. He brings this sort of uptight, his fiance, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, into the family, and she's like I said, she's very uptight and not very likable, and the family turns on her, and they put her through she goes through the ropes with them. They have her. They're really quite awful to her in a way that's quite comical. Diane plays the matriarch, and the type of role she does so effortlessly in movies like Father of the Bride, Something's Got to Give, Because I Said So, one of Seth's favorites.
I've never seen it. I just love the poster.
Okay.
She's like wagging her finger at Mandy Moore. I just love that. I said so.
But she manages to be that sort of earthy mother type. Her trajectory in Hollywood is so interesting because she starts off as sort of the breathy, goofy, ingenue and leading lady. And then she goes on to just play these wonderfully vulnerable, elegant older women in things like Something's Gotta Give. So this is one of her later roles. It's in the 90s, but she's just the mother everyone wants. And it ends up being very sad and beautiful. Blake, you love this movie, right?
I've seen it, I believe, but I don't really remember it. But you mentioned Father of the Bride, and I forgot she was the mom in that.
Yeah.
I love those movies. That was great. The remake with Steve Martin.
I also want to just call out a few other films of hers that I'm going to be doing this weekend. I'm going to go back and do Interiors, Mrs. So Full, which I haven't seen probably in 40 years, and Crimes of the Heart, which is, I think it's the one with Sissy Spacek and Sally Field, right? They're sisters. I'm going to go back and do that one. I haven't seen that. I saw that in the theater. I haven't seen it since.
I think that's based on a play too.
And what?
Crimes of the Heart, I think, is based on a play like the one I did before, Marvin's Room. That's based on a play. Sisters, same idea. But yeah, she can do those intimate chamber room dramas. She can do the epic. We didn't even talk about The Godfather. You know, it's like
I've never seen The Godfather Part 2. I've never seen that, which is they say is the best movie ever, one of the best movies ever made. So
yeah, of course.
I might have to do that, and I might have to do Reds too, because I think I've only seen the first 7 hours of Reds. I never saw the last 9 hours.
With Warren Beatty. Yeah, what a career! Honestly, and you can't go wrong. She just always brings it. She always brings it.
And it was one of those. I mean, we lost both Robert Redford and Jane Goodall in the same month as Diane, and all three of those were like gut punches to me. They were all, when I woke up and saw Diane, I had tears. She's been such a part of my life for so long that it's a hard one.
Yeah, it's always the saintly figures that you wake up
and you realize that we're going to be losing Goldie and Bette and Cher, and they're all
Well, let's not rush it.
No,
there is that Twitter account, Liza survives or whatever. Liza outlives.
Liza will outlive all of us.
she's so far she's doing pretty good. But anyway, all right, number 5. So now we're going to go back to Woody Allen land, but this one's interesting because it's his return to Diane after working with Mia Farrow for a string of amazing movies. And of course, we don't have to rehash what happened there, but it didn't end too well. And but he, Woody, God bless him, makes a movie a year, and he went right back to Diane, and she was game. And this is such a great movie, and I rewatched it, Manhattan Murder Mystery. So good. And I realized, Only Murders in the Building kind of caught
that's just it. The minute I saw Only Murders in the Building, I said, this is Manhattan Murder Mystery. There's just, that was the template.
And I don't blame them one bit, because it is such a great, cozy place to hang out with Woody and Diane in their overstuffed Manhattan apartment, and everyone's on top of each other. And they come up with this, or she really does, sort of flirting on the side with Alan Alda, that the neighbor probably killed his wife. And it's very much like Our Rear Window. There's lots of Hitchcock allusions with the mirrors, the Hall of Mirrors, and all these things. But it's mostly a great hang. And Woody, people are so hard on him for obvious reasons, but boy, can he toss off a great one-liner and a great little, just like the rapport stuff of a married couple. It's just so hilarious. You have, his whole, New York vibe. They've now pushed well past middle age, but then you have this fun mystery that's propelling it forward. You want to find out what happened. You're into it. You get into it with her, and it's just pure fun. It really works. It holds together. Manhattan Murder Mystery. Check it out.
And it doesn't take itself as seriously as some of the, like Hannah and Her Sisters and some of the stuff. That
he's having fun. It's a pure comedy. And, and you can tell everyone involved is just really enjoying themselves, and it works. It's so good. I wish you could just enjoy his movies and not be like, oh, but asterisk. But anyway, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. That's all the time we have for Diane, and we're moving on to another commercial. Am I right about that, Blake? Yes. Okay. When I come back, we're going to continue our countdown of the topical things that made us go wow this week. But in the meantime, I have a trivia question, and because it is spooky season right now, my trivia question is this: what is the difference between a graveyard and a cemetery? And when we come back, we're going to have our answer.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And we're back on Radio Andy Sirius XM, the Wow Report, counting down the top 10 things of the week that made us go wow. I'm James St. James, club kid turned best-selling author, and I'm here with our millennial producer, Blake Jacobs, and our very special guest, Hollywood Reporter, senior editor, Seth Abramovitch.
Hi.
And I had just asked a trivia question. What is the difference between a cemetery and a graveyard?
Is it like one is like New Orleans and it's like mausoleums, and the other one is like underground?
My
Not
guess
even
was,
close.
that was my guess, that one of them had mausoleums and one of them was only tombstones and graves. But okay, it's wrong.
Possibly, but the big difference is that a graveyard is attached to a church, is the back of a church, and only buries the church members, whereas cemeteries are plots of land away, far off, out of town, usually out of the town borders, and they include everybody of every denomination. Well, we've been counting down the top 10 things of the week that made us go wow about Diane Keaton, but now we're going to talk about some topical things, and I want to start off at number 4.
Number 4.
I went to go see Kiss of the Spider Woman this week, and I absolutely loved it.
Oh wow, great.
Yeah, it's underperforming at the box office. It's sort of a bomb, and I think people have a knee-jerk reaction about musicals, Blake, and I think people have a knee-jerk reaction when it comes to J-Lo, because the amount of hate that I see for her online is sort of disproportionate to what she deserves. Kind of. She's actually really spectacular in this. There's just no other word for it. She says it was the role that she was born to play, and she might be better suited for the role than Cheetah was, because the role calls for a 1940s bombshell movie star, and she's beautiful with this platinum blonde hair and these Colleen Atwood 40s beaded gowns that are just spectacular. She dances like, I mean, she's as good as Cheetah. She really is. She really shows off her dancing skills. And the songs, it's Candor and Ebb. You can't really fuck them up. I mean, I could sing them and get away with it. I mean, they're built so that anybody can deliver those big wow moments. The story is two men in a sort of Argentinian Alcatraz. And the one played by Diego Luna is a political dissident. He was fighting fascism, and he's been jailed for this. The other is a drag queen who is jailed because he's LGBTQ. So it's not that far of a stretch to say that this movie resonates in 2025 with America. They are
Raul
together.
Julia it's based on a non-musical film, and Raul Julia plays
And William Hurt, yeah.
And William Hurt, they're great.
Yeah, and then there was a 90s musical on Broadway with Cheetah as well.
I was at the premiere. Liza was there. I don't know why I was at the premiere. I don't know who took me there. I just remember seeing Liza Minnelli there.
This is not quite either of those things, and it's not the book that it was based on either. Bill Condon has taken... Bill Condon has taken a lot of liberties and sort of done his own little twist on it, his own little spin. But these two men are together in the room, and the gay man is telling the other man the story of The Kiss of the Spider Woman, which is his favorite movie of all time. And he's to while away the hours in the cell together, he reenacts the movie for the guy, and it ends up becoming a very beautiful love story of sorts. It's a very touching relationship that the two men develop, and it becomes a very beautiful love story of a different thing. But it's also very much like Pennies from Heaven, which came out in 1983, the same year as the musical, I think, whereas things get progressively darker and bleaker for these two men. The fantasies, these Hollywood musicals, keep getting more dazzling and more fantastical and bigger and bigger and bigger, until by the end, they're in they're like, on death's doorstep, and the musical is just this, tap dancing, fabulous. I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the dichotomy of the two is what really sort of sells the musical part, because they just keep escaping into this bigger and more elaborate fantasy. I went into it with very low expectations, thinking J-Lo musical, but she gives this 140%, by God.
I think she should have won for Hustlers, but
yeah, she's given some good performances over the years. She has, Selena.
What I like about her is that she is a show business woman to her soul. She will never stop performing.
She
constantly.
is our generation's Ann Miller, by God.
Yeah, like one of those. She's
She
gonna
will be
die
tap dancing when she
Yeah.
is 80 years old in a tight corset and a bodysuit.
Yes, she lives for it. So let her have it.
Yeah.
Right, Otto?
Oh, the other thing is, like Diego Luna, I love that he started his career making out with boys in Y Tu Mama Tambien, and now here he is in the twilight of his career, and he's still making out with boys. I love that for him, even, he's a straight man. But this new guy, who plays he's drag queen, he's trans, he's gay, he's it's 1980s, so there's no labels on it, but his name is Tana Chu, I think is his name. One word, Tono, and then Chu, Tana Chu. And he was in some Mexican soap operas and things, and he is so good in the prison scenes, but then he also inserts himself into the movie, and he's just devastatingly handsome in the movie. And he sings and dances, and it's just he's fantastic. He's a new star on the horizon.
If anyone sees the movie. But you should see it in a big theater because, like I said, it's pretty overwhelming, the visuals and everything like that. So let's move on, I guess, to number 3, and that's you, Seth. What do you got for number 3?
Number 3.
Okay, well, I'm going to promote myself once again, but this is a story that I did for, we did the creators issue of the Hollywood Reporter, and I was trying to think of a creative way into the creators issue. And this company came onto my radar that I wasn't even aware of. It's called CRUMBL. Do you know it, Blake?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, I didn't even
know. Talking to two fat queens here. We know CRUMBL.
So my friend told me about it and how it came out of Utah, and it's from missionaries, and the cookies are like 1,000 calories each, and people obsess and put it on TikTok, and I'm not on TikTok. So I was like, suddenly it was on my radar, and then I started seeing them around. And I said, oh, that's that store that my friend was talking about. And then shortly after that, this whole thing broke online where someone whose name is Grant Gibbs, I now know because I did this whole story, is a very funny, talk about twinks. It's a twink and a redhead comedy duo online. And he saw some videos of the guy who founded this company, CRUMBL, Sawyer Hemsley, and said, this guy is gay to the gods. And if he's pretending that he's not, then I have news for you. He is. And that started a whole thing where this guy that was on kind of like the Bachelor, but for gay people, called Finding Prince Charming or Looking for Prince Charming. And he went on and put up these text messages and said, yeah, look, he was flirting with me and blah, blah, blah. And then this Sawyer came out on Instagram, and it became the hugest thing. Everyone was talking about it for about a day, I'd say. About that the CEO of CRUMBL is gay, and he said, look, I'm going to take the narrative into my own hands, and yes, it's taken me a while to admit this, and I am a gay man, and that's that, and I'm going to continue to make my cookies.
But now what has sort of come out as well, and you pushed back on this a little bit when I mentioned it to you the other day, wasn't the fact that he is a billionaire MAGA Trump supporter? Didn't that sort of come out, and that he's been voting against gay marriage and all this stuff?
Well, so I did the story. I actually went to Utah, Provo, Utah. Everyone treated me very nicely, but I did go to the headquarters of CRUMBL, and I met Sawyer Hemsley and his partner, who's a cousin through marriage, named Jason. And I saw how the whole CRUMBL operation works. I saw the test kitchen where they come up with these crazy flavors. And the whole trick of CRUMBL is that every week they have a completely new menu, except for the chocolate chip cookie, of these crazy, each one gets more and more over the top. And now they're spreading to other things, to cheesecakes and rolls and brownies and blah, 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 blah. And it's worth $2 billion, and they have 1,100 locations. It's franchised. But that's like twice so they opened in 2017. So the amount of time it took from there to get to 1,100 locations since 2017 to now is half the time it took McDonald's to get to the same amount of locations. So this is a big phenomenon. It is making a lot of money, and he's very rich. Now, you're saying, is he a Trumper? I got no sense of the fact that he is a Trumper or that this is a MAGA organization. And I saw every floor of it and met everyone there. I asked them outright. I did my own research in terms of what's publicly available in terms of donations and voting records and things like that. I could not turn anything up that proves that he's a Trumper. Now, let's keep in mind, he's kind of new to the gay thing. So he's developing, he's 33. So, I'm not saying he's a child who's like just coming out, but it's a different world there in Utah. They don't drink and they have very strict rules, and it's all about the church, especially in this Provo area. So if he's, and he seems to be progressing quite quickly. He has a boyfriend now, a very handsome realtor, and he keeps putting up pictures and videos of the two of them. And he seems like a very sweet guy, this Sawyer. So I do not want people to have this a vision of some mean Trumper counting his money in the background and then being gay on the other side. And I asked them straight up for it. I said, look, people assume because you're Mormons, this is a conservative company, right, a Republican company. And how do you respond to that? And they gave me, and it's in the story, and it'll be up online Friday, what I thought was a very reasonable and kind response, which is that they are, they have Democrats and Republicans who work at the company. They have gay people, they have straight people, and they do a kind of poll, or not a poll, a survey. And the number one question is, can you feel free to be who you are working at CRUMBL? And that's their number one priority. So look, we're all living in America. We know the reality of things. I don't think it's fair to really just say, well, you're from this part of the world, this part of the country, you must be XYZ, and you're doing harmful
I don't think it's more geographic. I think it's more the fact that as a billionaire, I have a knee-jerk reaction that I think all billionaires are trying to protect themselves through tax cuts and things like that, where they are aligning in themselves with Republican priorities.
And that may be so. Look, I don't have the entire final line on everything they do behind closed doors. I did ask them a sort of gotcha question, which didn't make it into the story, but I'll share it with you here, which is, would you do a pride cookie? Would you do a rainbow cookie? It fits into the whole colorful theme of what they sell. And he said, we've talked about it. Right now, no, we would not. And I'm not surprised. Look what happened to Target. Look what happened to Bud Light.
I would not blame anybody for not doing.
Companies do not want to wade into that right now. It doesn't mean that he's bad for the gays. And I know that we were talking about this before. The gay press has sort of, adopted him now as like our new cover boy and I would say give him the benefit of the doubt. And if you like CRUMBL cookies, continue to eat them because they seem like a pretty decent company. That's my opinion. But mostly read my story.
Fair enough. And the story is out in the Hollywood Reporter right now, and you can find it on the HollywoodReporter.com as well, probably. Am I right? Online?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Today.
Moving on to number 2, Blake, that's you. What have you got for us? What have you been doing? What's going on with you?
Number 2,
super quick. Stephen and I, we went downtown to this market that they have like 3 times a year for like small businesses, like bakeries and small craft things. And while we were down there, we walked down Broadway to the Apple store at what was the Tower Theater. It's this big, gorgeous, store. While we were there, they had a photography class.
We all have the iPhones, and this camera does so much, and yet all I do is just point and click, and I don't know anything. And you posted all these pictures that were just absolutely looked like something out of, a photography magazine, out of an art exhibit.
So when we walked in, we were looking at the new phone because Steven's thinking about getting it, and we were like, we wanted to take this photography class. So we looked at the schedule and it happened to be happening in 10 minutes. So we were like, we'll just stay. And this awesome girl, her name's Alex at the Top Tower store in downtown LA. She taught the class. We went over 5 different kinds of photography, action photography, portraits, panoramics, selfies, and group shots. And she kind of went over, best practices for each of them, which I kind of knew because I took Film School 101. So they teach you about f-stops and, lighting and all that stuff. But I didn't really know it in terms of using it on the iPhone, like James was saying. You know, we have these awesome cameras in our hands every day, and we can use them. We just don't really know how. So it was awesome to take it, and I'd suggest everyone look up what classes they teach at your Apple store, because you can take more like a niche classes, like a class on just the portrait.
But there's also so many things that I just want to know about my phone that, you know, it's like I said, we have this more computing, you know, ability in our phone than we will ever know. And I just have, all I do is just take pictures of, you know, my stuffed animals and whatever.
Exactly. And it's free.
I shouldn't feel self-conscious like I'm an old person that doesn't know how to use my phone. And
well, I am an old person who doesn't know how to use my phone. So there's no escaping that fact. I've turned it to my mom.
And if you're worried about that, then go to the Apple store in Woodland Hills or something, you know, where nobody goes.
I'm just kidding. I don't care. I will do it. I will do it.
But it's
free. Take the class.
It's free, and you know, they do it at all Apple stores or most of them. So why not use the resources?
And this is a thing that they do downtown. What is this like? Is it not a parade, or what is it? Do they have food? What else is going on in this?
The Apple store?
It's Broadway.
You said it was this thing that they do 3 times a year, and you went down to it.
It's a bazaar. It's like a bazaar, a market, a rendezvous.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Blake. I'm James St. James. That was Blake Jacobs, and we're here with Seth Abramovitch, and we've been counting down the top 10 things of the week that made us go wow, including our favorite Diane Keaton films. But when we come back, we're going to do number 1. So stick around and don't go anywhere.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
And we're back. We've been counting down the top 10 things of the week that made us go wow, and we are at number 1. Without further ado,
number 1.
I did just want to say that black is white and night is day, because, you know, I'm happy that Trump did something good and the prisoners have been released, and right?
Finally, but then he lost all goodwill because he bitched about his cover on time because his neck was
okay.
Out.
And the fact of the matter, will the peace treaty hold? Is he going in and building hotels in the Gaza Strip? I mean, we don't know what. It might be premature to be saying that he's turned over a new leaf and he's going to only be doing good deeds from now on. But for now, for today, I'm happy that things turned out the way that they did. I just am. But he also did. He was also on the cover of Time, and he's been bitching about that. The picture is just one of the it belongs in the Hall of Fame, because it's the image, the camera angle is going up, which you never ever want. You never want a camera angle to be looking up. You should have learned that at your portrait taking class.
Yeah.
Because you see his neck gina, you see that crazy turkey waddle of his. You see it's a close-up of his ear, which is perfectly unscarred. It looks like a baby's ear. It's so beautiful and fresh and clean. And then you see the bald pate, of his head with like this sort of floating bit of hay, like golden spun hay, Rumpelstiltskin, floating above his head. And it's just one of the worst pictures he's ever took. And so, yeah, God bless Time for doing that.
I guess I'm in the minority in thinking it's not that bad. I'm like looking at it. I see everyone keeps talking about it. I guess I'm sick of looking at him face on. So it was nice to have a new.
Well, the thing is that what I was taught very early on is that if the camera is above you and you look up, if you're of a certain age, your skin falls backwards, and so you look like you have cheekbones, and everything is flattened. Whereas if you're looking down, all your skin sort of puddles and looks terrible.
Yeah, I think Oprah did this on her show in the late 90s.
Well, I learned in the 80s when the first picture of me that was ever taken and put into
You were
Newsweek
taught.
magazine.
You were young and taught in the 80s.
No. But it was a terrible picture, and someone took me aside and said, "James, don't ever let a camera look up."
Was it Diane Brill?
Okay, so there we go. That was our top 10 list of the week. So everybody, thank you for listening, and be sure to join us next week and every week. And until then, go out and do something that makes the world go wow.